Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
Hare Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Prema Prabhu Ki Jai. Please accept my respectful obeisances of Goshi Prabhupada. See, Prem, he went off again.
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, you're welcome. Are you set to go ahead?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Please, can you give me host so that
You are ready? Oh.
okay.
You can go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pronounce all glories to you.
This is Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Don't know what is happening this morning. Is it network again or what? Please make me host so that I can share my screen, my God. This is part of our time that is going. Give me host so that I can share my screen. It's not easy. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. These uncontrollable environmental forces are volatile. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, please? Hare Krishna.
Krishna, we can hear you.
Yes, bro, we can hear you.
Okay. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Chinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurvasu Yavadi Vachachya Disatari Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. So you are welcome to today's session of our online Bhakti Sastri course. We are in the second half of chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. Yesterday, we saw that Krishna, after taking Arjuna through Jnana, the Jnana that we are not this body, but we are spirit souls, and after elaborately describing the characteristics of the soul as opposed to that of the body, then Krishna went further to establish that this is Jnana Kanda or Jnana Yoga, right? But if you think that this is too high, Then you can still do karma kanga and fight. You do karma, you can fight. That there prescribed duties according to our nature. They are called swadharma. There are two types of swadharma. One is on the bodily platform, which is Varnashram Dharma. Considering the different varnas and the ashrams, there are specific duties, and that is called conditional swadharma. Then there's another type of swadharma, which is when one is liberated, when one knows that it's a spirit soul, not the body, that we are part and parcel of Krishna, then its eternal duty is to serve Krishna. So that is liberated kind of swadharma. It is called constitutional swadharma. Constitutional because by constitution, by our nature, actual inherent nature, we are servants of Krishna. We are spirit soul, and the spirit soul is part and parcel of Krishna, and therefore a servant. So one who is acting on that platform is acting on the platform of constitutional swadharma. So it is said that if you perfectly do your conditional swadharma without any relationship with Krishna, you practically you gain nothing. But when you do only 1% of constitutional swadharma, you get 100% results. Therefore, Arjuna should arm himself and fight. But if he doesn't fight, based on what Krishna is telling you, then he said that Arjuna is like misusing Krishna's friendship. That Krishna has come all the way from Dwarka as his friend, but is now going to leave the battlefield even without fighting. That means if you do that, a lot of things are involved. People will not know that you are feeling compassion, that you are having philosophical understanding, your heart is up. They will think that you are a coward. You are leaving the battlefield even before the fight begins. So you are a runaway soldier. You are a coward. There are so many consequences. You will lose your reputation for not fighting, because as a Kshatriya, you want is to fight and do your prescribed duty is to fight. Now, if as a Kshatriya you fight and you defeat your enemies, you will enjoy the kingdom. And even if you leave your body in the process of the fight, you will attain the heavenly plans. So it is a win-win situation for you as a Kshatriya to fight. If you lose the battle here, you will attain heaven. And if you happen to win the battle, you will enjoy this kingdom after you still attain heaven.
What is the problem?
Krishna, I think Prabhu's network is not that good, so I don't know.
So you are not the host.
Yes,
so when
please,
he's online, then if you can give him back the host.
Please tell him to, I don't know. I think his network is not good, so he must off his video and then he do the audio side as he did the last time.
Sure.
So you people should inform him, because I don't know.
Krishna Prabhu, please, yes. Can you off your video? I think your network is not that good, so that we do the audio.
Because we are not hearing anything.
He's muted.
It's what?
He's muted. Krishna Prabhu, can you unmute yourself?
It's still on the line. I don't think it's on the line now.
He's on the line. So please,
Yeah.
I've made him the host now. Please, Prabhu, I don't know if you can unmute yourself. See Prima Prabhu. Please unmute yourself.
Network.
I think he must position himself well.
But he's at the temple, right? Oh,
Yeah,
I
I think he is at the shop.
If that place is not convenient, he should move to the upstairs of the temple, the conference hall. Then me spoiling some of them.
There will be a Bhakti class at that moment. There will be Bhakti class today. Yes. You let me call him on his phone.
All right.
okay.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, can you get me now?
Yeah, Hare
Yes, we
Krishna.
can get you. Hare Krishna Prabhu, please can you off the video so that we can have a good network? You know, when you are using the video, it streams a lot of data. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Okay. I'm very sorry. It's not deliberate. Hare Krishna. This
Hare
is
Krishna.
network. I'm highly, yes, it's very distracting when network are posted like this. They take
Very
you
material.
off your feet. These
These
material
are
things
reminding-
are fighting with the devotees.
These are the
Okay,
reminders
it's okay.
that
We need to be reminded.
yeah.
Okay. So let me see what to do. I'm still trying to recover myself. Yes. Okay, so we have been saying that Krishna has been advising twice in all circumstances that is to arm Jnana, the knowledge that we are not actually these bodies, but we are spirit souls, and that our eternal
Arvo, your voice is freezing also.
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
And
I think so your network is not that good. Hare
constitutional,
Krishna, see Prima,
we should
see Prima
act
Prabhu,
accordingly.
see Prima Prabhu.
And if we are
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
that
Hare Krishna.
will not
Prabhu.
cause reactions, and that after explaining about acting as a
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
you can't still hear me clearly.
Yeah, your voice is freezing. We can't hear you at all. It keeps on breaking.
Haribo.
Yeah, it's better now. We can't hear you. Your voice is freezing. He left again. No? Yeah. This is to remind us that we're in the material world. Anything can happen.
Yes, please put off your data and then on it again. I think your data is no good. So on it and off it again. Let's see. Off it and on it and let's see.
That means the whole process again.
Yes, off your data. Please, are you using your phone?
I'm using Wi-Fi.
So please put off the Wi-Fi and then on it again because we are having your distance is breaking. Your network is breaking. Okay, thank you. Okay, Prabhu.
It's so painful that this is happening, and because they are going to use that upstairs for Bhakti class.
For Bhakti class, yes.
I'm trying to do it in my home here.
You are home.
Yes.
I think the network is not good also. The network is not favorable.
Okay, let me offer on again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please, I think we should have time for C. Prima Prabhu. He's having issues with his data. So please let us keep coming. Let's see if you come back. Hare Krishna.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Prabhu Ramachandra, please, can you continue with the lectures?
Oh, Prabhu, why do you want me to go to hell? The whole DC Prema is online. Who am I to speak?
No, he's off now.
No, but C. Prima is off. So if you can continue with the lectures.
No, please. I'm not yet in that level. I don't want to commit any offenses, please.
Bhakta Press, can you continue with the lectures for us, please?
That is very loud, Abu. Oh, but the network is very disturbing this morning.
I tell you. Raguna Bhakti Das, can you continue the lectures, please?
Sometimes the phone also, the handset also is very important. When you don't use good handset, it give you this kind of outbreak and other things.
No, but he said he's using
a Wi-Fi. He said he's using a Wi-Fi. So
if you are using a Wi-Fi, your phone is not good. It's the same thing.
No, he's using his laptop, not his phone.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Paganuga Das Prabhu, please can you continue with the lectures? Krishna.
They are the Prabhus now.
They are the Prabhus. Yes. Asuna Kumara.
And
yes, please can you continue the lectures for us until we get Prabhu C. Prema to continue. You are now Prabhu too. You are now Prabhu.
Prabhu is also here.
Yes. So I don't know.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Please, I have a question, and I want to know if we can discuss it before Prabhu Chaitanya joins in.
Prabhu, okay. We are Bhaktas.
We are Bhaktas, and you are Prabhu. You are come to ask the Bhaktas questions.
But we have other Prabhus on the platform, so he can go ahead.
Okay, that's true. That's very true. Okay. Yes. Asuna Kumara Prabhu is also there. So and Samama Kopinat and Madhusina Prabhu is also there. So
devotees are around. So
yes. So please go ahead.
I don't know, Prabhu, go ahead. Let's see. Thank God he's here.
Say Prema is here. So let's.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, this network is in the hands of
Thank God he's here. But you is involved though. But
okay, yes. Oh, we are pleading with him.
I beg all of you to tell them that we are doing something devotional that they should allow us to do it. Please, please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So what I will do is that for now I will not share my screen. For now, I don't know whether that is going to that would have made us to go faster. If I share my screen, it will make us go faster. And maybe I have to cut everything sharp because a lot of the time is gone. Or should I share my screen?
That is very healthy because some of us we are screenshotting the system.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please, if you share the screen and you have issues with the network, please, I think you should not send, so that if Bhakti Mega comes to the temple, then he comes for the soft copy of it. My suggestion, please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Let's see what happens. Don't worry, we are going to attain equilibrium very soon. Host disabled participant screen. I beg, tell the host to on my screen. I beg you, should not disable it. Please, somebody should call the host to allow my screen, please.
You have not been given a host yet. That is why.
Yeah. Am I still a host?
Yeah, you are still a host.
It should be given. It should give me the host.
Okay. Prabhu, please, I'm giving you the host. Hare Krishna. I didn't know I was the host. Sorry.
Okay. Hare Krishna. You should not worry. We are on track. Though the time is going, but we'll see what to do. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So let me just start very swiftly. Yesterday we ended up in verse 46 or 45. Let me see. But 45. That the Vedas deal mainly with the subjects of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, because transcendental to the three modes. Okay, become transcendental to the three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. So Krishna instructs Arjuna to rise above the fruitive performance of duty, because karmakanda or fruitive activities can actually take you to the heavens. That's the highest level. Fruitive activities, perfect fruitive worker can go to heaven. It cannot go beyond. So Krishna was describing Arjuna that he should try to act according to those karmakanda principles, so that at least if everything fails, he can still go to heaven by acting as a perfect shepherd. So, but we are saying that the Vedas have a lot of flowery language. If you do this, you will get that. If you do this, you will get that. If you do this, you will get that. If you do this, you go to heaven, you get a healthy child, you get wealth. And generally for beginners of spiritual life, these things are very, very attractive. And the Krishna is using the same style to attract them, so that when they come closer, he can now give them the real thing. So those who are outside, generally people are outside of the regulation of the Vedas. Their activities are called Vikama activities, activities that bring painful reaction, ordinary activities of sense gratification. So Krishna introducing the Veda means bringing regulations into those sense gratificatory activities, so that from wherever they are, you can get them connected, like a multi-socket. Krishna is acting as a multi-socket, whereby he can connect to each and every living entity from wherever he is, according to his mentality. So he has made some rules and regulations that if you are thinking like this, your mentality is like this. If you follow these rules and regulations, you will gradually be elevated. So the Vedas have a lot of languages. These languages, that promises sense gratification on different levels, they are called the flowery language of the Vedas. The flowery language of the Vedas. If you do this, you get this. If you do this, actually, this is where Christianity and Krishna consciousness meet. This is where this is the meeting point between the Vedas and the Bible, between Christianity and Krishna consciousness. This is the meeting point, because in Christendom, all what you see is prosperity gospel. If you do like this, you had a bicycle yesterday, today you are going to have a motorcycle. And if you're having a motorcycle today, what Christianity is all about, Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me now?
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you.
Yes, Prabhu, we can
This
hear
is
you.
becoming very painful because it's actually interrupting my flow.
Prabhu, please, can you position your Wi-Fi at where you can have a good network? If you're using the modem, can you position it very well where you can get a good network? I think where you've positioned it is no good.
Let me put it by the window. Let me put it by the window side and see. Let me put it by the window side and see. Prabhu, this is disrupting my flow. Seriously. As soon as I want to arrive, the thing goes up. The network companies who beg them for us that please, that this will allow us to use what we pay for. When you collect data, when you pay for data, this will allow us to use it. Otherwise, they are becoming like witches and wizards. Understand? They want the money, but they don't want to enjoy the service. This is what is happening here. Okay. Anyway, having said that, it's part of the modes and their interference. That is exactly why we should leave this place. We prefer to leave this place and come back to God and go and stay where there is no need for Vodafone or MTN, where everybody himself is actually a Vodafone machine. So, the kingdom of God, you don't need all these external gadgets. Okay? Hare Krishna. So, can we continue?
Yes, please.
Can we continue now? Okay.
Yes.
Let's relax. Hare Krishna, please. Hare Krishna. Let us chant one Hare Krishna, everybody, so that we can immunize our sisters. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama
Hare Hare.
Hare. So let us break this interruption. Okay, so I was saying that the Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. And Krishna was telling Arjuna to rise above the modes. That the Vedas, contain a lot of flowery language. And this language is used to bring those who are big kamis, people in general, who do not have any regulations, who are living like animals. The Vedas present some codes of conduct to them. That is what is called Kamakanda. That from wherever you are, you can still gradually connect to the Vedas and regulate your life and eventually arrive at pure devotional service. So this is what is being given. So the flowery language of the Vedas, they explain, they give you formula for how you can attain material success, how you can attain good education, how you can attain good wife, how you can attain good material facility, and how you can go to heaven. That if you are riding a bicycle,
so then they see me for their
please, if you are not the one speaking, off your video or mute your voice, please. Infinite Smart 5. Infinite mute. Infinite mute.
What did
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. If you have the host, you can mute all the mics, others apart from yours. You have the host, so you can mute it directly.
Okay. Very good, please. Okay, thank you very much. I will be meeting anybody that is coming on board to interrupt. We are trying to break loose from network interruption, then we ourselves are interrupted. So what do we want? Okay, so we are saying that the flowery language of the Vedas are very attractive to neophytes. The flowery language of the Vedas are very attractive to the neophytes. And the Vedas, Krishna presented the Vedas so that we can get those people who are completely mad, who are in the ocean of sense gratification, to connect from wherever they are. So it's like a multi-socket. Krishna is like a multi-socket. that from wherever you are, whether you are a pure devotee or you are in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance, you can still connect. So the Vedas presented regulations so that by adding the Vedic regulation into whatever you are doing, you can gradually be elevated. So this is the purpose of the Vedas. Especially the Vedas therefore deal with karma kanda activities. If you do like this, you get this result. If you do like this, you get this result. The profit and reward. That is the basis. Profit and reward. If you do like this, you get like this. If you don't do like this, you get this punishment. Profit and reward. So this is the platform of religions like Christianity and others. They are purely operating on the platform of promise and reward. Profit and reward, or punishment and reward. Let me say punishment and reward. So they promise so many things. Like if you are a bicycle rider today, say if you become one of us, tomorrow you become a motorcycle rider. And next month you will become a car owner. From car ownership, you get a good wife. From good wife, you will get, good children. From good children, you get good wealth and fame. And everything. This is the promise. So Christianity and other religious systems on that platform, they are just promising the people these things. If you come to us, you will get this. If you come to us, you will get this. So their end is the flowery language of the Vedas. But that is not actually devotional service yet. This is just to meet the karmis where they are and try to gradually bring them on board. And that is what Christianity is about. And they cannot therefore take you beyond the heavenly planets, which is the ultimate goal of a perfect Kamakandi. So Krishna said, Arjuna, the Vedas in verse 45, the Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. Oh Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. So Krishna instructs Arjuna to rise above the fruitive performance of duty. Okay? Rather than fighting to gain heavenly pleasures or to avoid infamy, it should be established in self-realization. Is what Krishna is saying. That Arjuna previously reasoned that destroying the family tradition will end the performance of Kamakanda rituals. So Krishna now defeats that argument by telling Arjuna to rise above those rituals, which are claimed by the modes of material nature. You are not hearing me again?
Or the way you talk to people now, so it's coming close to me.
So it's okay, we can hear you clearly, so you can go ahead.
Yeah, please, infinite, smart 5, always stay muted, please. We are begging you. We are begging you to stay muted. We are already trying to balance the disturbance we're having. Then you are constantly disturbing. You are constantly disturbing. So anyway, let's continue. Please don't unmute again. Don't unmute again, please, for God's sake. Unless you have come deliberately to interrupt us, if that's what you have come for. Otherwise, please remain muted till further notice, until when you want to speak. As a sign of respect for every other person here also. Okay? You remain muted. Okay, so in his purpose, Srila Prabhupada comments on Krishna's first mention of the three modes of material nature and summarizes the process of transcending the modes. As long as the material body exists, there are actions and reactions in the material modes. One has to learn tolerance in the face of dualities, such as happiness and distress, or cold and warmth. And by tolerating such dualities, become free from anxieties regarding gain and loss. This transcendental position is achieved in full Krishna consciousness when one is fully dependent on the goodwill of Krishna. So Krishna concludes his argument in verse 46 that all purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose of the Vedas. And there, Srila Viswanatha Chakravarti Thakura comments that in India, each well is used for only a specific purpose: for drinking water, for washing clothes, for cleaning utensils, for bathing. All those activities, however, can be performed simultaneously on the shore of a lake or a river. No? Where a source of fresh water is available, we do not need to go from well to well to fulfill our purposes. Similarly, one who is Vigyanata, who is complete in knowledge of the Vedic purpose, they need only perform Buddhi Yoga for the Lord's pleasure. Buddhi Yoga means Bhakti Yoga also. Okay, Buddhi Yoga performed with intelligence. So that yoga is performed specifically for the pleasure of the Lord. So the performance of Buddhi Yoga satisfies the purpose behind the Vedas. Kamakanda rituals then becomes unnecessary. Okay, when one who has material desires but who performs Buddhi Yoga will become purified because he is fixed in transcendental knowledge. Okay, because Krishna has explained several alternative levels of activity to Arjuna, he next explained the specific level on which Arjuna is qualified to act. Okay, by that we come to verse 47. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruit of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. That means do your duty, but do not be attached to the results of your duties. You leave the result for me. And this is the platform of Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, we just do our duty and leave the rest for Krishna. Just do your duty and don't be attached to the result. Give the result to Krishna. Okay? Even if apparently you don't see immediate result, just be satisfied that you have done your own duty. So let's focus on doing our duty and leaving the rest for Krishna. That's what it should be. Okay? It's important that we act like that because this is the platform of Krishna. This important verse, in which, that is verse 47, this important verse in which the Lord chooses to instruct Arjuna to perform Niskama Kama Yoga begins. Kamani Ibadikata. Arjuna's Adhikara. Arjuna's Adhikara. Adhikara means eligibility. His personal eligibility is ever certainly for Kama work. It's for Kama, it's for work. That means Arjuna's eligibility is Adhikara, is to work. So since your Adhikara is to work, and since work binds the worker, then I tell you to work for my pleasure. And working for my pleasure means Niskama Kama Yoga, a type of work that you will not get attraction for reaction. Bhagavat Arpita Niskama Kama Yoga. This is what Krishna wants Arjuna to do. So while working, however, Arjuna should not create further reactions by desiring to enjoy the fruits of his work. Because when you are working and you are attached to the fruits of your work, you are going to create another chain of action and reaction. But when the result, when the purpose is to satisfy me, then whatever else that is there is absorbed by me. Me means the Supreme Lord. Therefore, there will be no sinful reactions involved. So Arjuna should work and give the result to Krishna. Okay? This is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. That the concept of duty, dispassionate, proper actions, whose performance is its own reward, is becoming increasingly foreign to modern society. Yes, that means in the modern society, people don't believe in that. Everybody is attached, violently attached to the results of his actions. But Krishna is telling him to act and just give the result to him, which is very, very rare. Only the Buddhists can do that. Only those who are in knowledge of their real identity and their relationship with Krishna can do that. So Srila Prabhupada described this proper approach to work in his purport. In Srila Prabhupada's purport is contained that Arjuna was therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty, without attachment to the result. His non-participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Okay? Therefore, such attachment never leads one to the path of salvation. So any attachment, positive or negative, is cause for bondage. Get that point clear. It's a principle. Any attachment, positive or negative, is a cause for bondage. And inaction is sinful. Inaction is sinful. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path of salvation for Arjuna. Krishna explains the proper consciousness in which to walk in the following sloka. Now we are going to see. Perform your prescribed duty. Okay, verse 48. Perform your duty equipoise, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Okay? So Krishna is telling Arjuna to act in yoga. That yoga means your actions are directed towards satisfying a higher authority. And it is perfection of yoga when that higher authority is Krishna. Because Krishna is the source, is the cause of all causes and the source of everything. So when your actions are directed towards pleasing Krishna, it is called yoga. Okay? So when we say Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, this is what we mean. We are acting, but our actions are directed towards pleasing a superior person. And the most superior person is Krishna. Therefore, we are directly, rightly situated. Okay? The next verse, okay, therefore Krishna tells Arjuna not to renounce work, but to renounce the fruit of work. We are going to come to that very seriously in chapter 3. The next verse should be noted because it is connected to the question Arjuna will ask Krishna at the opening of chapter 3. Oh, Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness, surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. That what fruits does one attain? What fruits does one attain who tries to enjoy the result of his work? The only birth and death. He attains birth and death as the fruit. If you want to enjoy the result of your work, the fruit is that you attain repeated birth and death. Now, Krishna criticizes fruitive desires and glorifies Buddhi Yoga, which Srila Prabhupada translates as devotional service. The living entity should work hard to escape suffering, and it should not become further entangled in it. Buddhi Yoga liberates one, and the effect of his practice are described as follows. So from verse 50, the effects of Buddhi Yoga are explained. Don't worry too much. Let us go like this, since the internet is disrupting. Let's go like this. Then at the end of it, we can come back to show some of the slides so that the capsules will be visible. You can see how the essential points are encapsulated in the PowerPoints. So in this way, we are fighting with network. And at the same time, we are trying to do something with our time. Otherwise, we will be defeated by network, which is going to be very dangerous. Okay? A man engaged in devotional service frees himself of both good and bad actions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the acts of our work. Okay? That means, listen again, Buddhi Yoga liberates one, and the effects of his practice are described. These are some of the effects of acting in Krishna consciousness. These are some of the effects of acting in Buddhi Yoga. Some of the effects of acting in Buddhi Yoga. One is that a man engaged in Buddhi Yoga, he rids himself of both good and bad actions, even in this life. That means he will be acting here, but he will not be entangled by the reaction of his actions. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of work. Now, verse 50, purport. The art of work is to act in such a way that we become free from both good and bad reactions. As long as we are in this world, as long as we have material bodies, we must work. Therefore, this aspect of the Gita is very, very important. This is the art and science of work. How to work in a way that one doesn't get entangled by the reactions. So Arjuna fears the sinful reactions from killing his kinsmen, but dutiful, detached work in knowledge will protect him from the fruits streaming from his activities. We must work, but we should be detached from the results. Jnana is desire to become free from reactions by renouncing all activities. The same effect can be more easily achieved by acting with detachment. For example, mercury is poisonous, but in the hands of an Ayurvedic doctor, mercury becomes a powerful medicine. Similarly, while regular attached work entangles the soul in the material world, detached, dutiful work performed in knowledge and aimed at pleasing the Supreme, it leads him to liberation. It is work, but one type causes bondage, while the other type causes liberation. So we should work armed with this knowledge of Buddha Yoga. So Arjuna should fight. By thus engaging in the 51, by thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all mysteries by going back to Godhead. Here, Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura explains that detached work leads to realized knowledge of the soul. Realized knowledge. Detached work leads to realized knowledge. And we were saying that theoretical knowledge, 1 gallon of theoretical knowledge is equal to just 1 drop of realized knowledge. And how this is so, we explain in further chapters. The Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura is here explaining this. Yes, that when one does become self-realized, he can gradually become blessed with knowledge of the Lord and can surrender to him. Such surrender frees one, it frees him from the material world, and after liberation, he becomes eligible to attain life. This progression is known as the yoga ladder. The yoga ladder is detailed in the first 6 chapters of the Bible. So there is a very popular term called yoga ladder. As a Bhakti Sastri student, you have to become conversant with the yoga ladder. You know, a ladder has, staircases, whereby you have to climb one, you raise your leg from one, you put it on the other step, then you raise your other leg, put it there, and you raise your first leg, you put it up. Like it's a ladder that you have to climb. So there is what is called yoga ladder. Okay? And this yoga ladder starts from the big activities that are not scriptural, or from the ordinary general mass of the ladder begins. From there, people are employed to start acting in Karma Yoga, whereby regulations are added. And when these regulations are added, then higher than that Karma Yoga is to add knowledge to it. That knowledge is that you are not this body, but a spirit soul. So with that, what is my relationship with the Supreme Soul? And you start acting on that platform. That is Jnana. Jnana is added. Vikama, Karma, Jnana. Then meditation is added, Buddhi Yoga. Then from Buddhi, Sankhya is added, analytical study. Then eventually Bhakti is added. So this ladder, we're going to come to it and we explain it when we get there. Okay. So, verse 52. 52. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Flowery language. Here, Arjuna must transcend fruitive desires and become fixed in Buddha yoga to achieve success. Desire to perform the prescribed duties, this sacrifice, that ritual must no longer disturb the candidate attempting to attain samadhi or consciousness. We should rise above desiring this, desiring that, desire. Once you arrive at the point of Krishna consciousness, automatically all what you could have attained by Kamakanda activities are automatically attained. Because it's like the process of watering the root now. Becoming Krishna conscious means acting in Bhakti yoga means you have to start, you have started the process of watering the root. That when the root is watered, automatically all the leaves and the branches are nourished. Like when you put food into the stomach, all the limbs and the senses of the body are enlivened. So similarly, when you act in Krishna consciousness in pure Bhakti yoga, automatically everything else will fall in place. So this is the purpose of this verse. So we should understand this. But will a devotee who neglects Vedic verses be taken lacking in instruction? Srila Prabhupada's purpose describe the instruction that occurs in different levels of Buddhism. In Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into communion with Krishna, and thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state. One is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representatives, the spiritual master. Krishna has for time being finished describing Buddha yoga. Arjuna now asks 4 questions in text 54 about the divine consciousness that Krishna has just mentioned. Krishna answered these questions one by one, beginning from verse 55 up to verse 72. So this is it. Arjuna is going to ask questions from verse 54. Arjuna will ask a series of questions as to the position of one who has attained this consciousness we are talking about, this transcendental consciousness. And Krishna will answer. And the answers to Arjuna's questions there constitute, the answers to Arjuna's question there will constitute what we are going to see between text 54 to text 72. Yeah, he's going to ask about Estiradimu, and we are going to see that very serious. So before we go into that next theme, which is the last theme of this chapter, let us make a little summary in this form. In verse 45, we do say that while the Vedas deal with the 3 modes, that is to gradually elevate the general public from the field of sense gratification to a position on the transcendental plane. That is why the Vedas dealt with the 3 modes of nature. And in the 3 modes of nature, there are a lot of flowery languages used. They are saying that all those flowery languages are to bring people, ordinary people, to gradually elevate them to Krishna consciousness. So it is not out of place when you see that, okay, if I do this, what will I get? What will I get? If I become a devotee, what will I get? If you see a new devotee asking these questions, it is not out of place. Okay? If a new devotee is asking, if I become a devotee by chant Hare Krishna, what will I get? What will be my gain? It is not out of place, because that is his level. Understand? So the Vedas promise, okay, if you do like this, you get this. If you do like this, you get this. You get material opulence. If you regulate your life like this, you will attract the mercy of the Lord, and you will get this, you get that, you get it. If it is a wife you are looking for, you will get. If it is wealth you are looking for, you will get. If it is material opulence, you will get. So this is the meeting point between Christianity and Krishna consciousness. We also say you can get this thing, but we do not end there. We said you can get this thing, but this is just the beginning for neophytes. But when you get to the higher level, you see that going after this is just unnecessary, because once you satisfy Krishna, automatically all provisions will be made. So we are not discouraging you. We encourage you, because that's your level of understanding. You can start with that. You can chant Hare Krishna even with that mentality. After all, Krishna, whether you have material desires or you have no material desires, you can practice Krishna consciousness. Okay? Krishna knows where you are, and he knows how to pick you up from there and elevate you. Please, if you can on your videos, we like it, except that you're having network problems. So, Kamakanda rituals and demigod worships, they are just like worshiping of the demigods, you know. They can give you fulfill some of your promises. Kamakanda rituals, you know, they can fulfill some of your promises, but they cannot take you beyond heaven. And they are meant for those who are new people, who are neophytes, not for advanced devotees. Okay? So here we are dealing with two kinds of people. One is the neophyte, and one is the advanced devotee. Let us get this clear from here. Krishna is considering, is very considerate. You know, he knows everybody's frame of reference, and he is trying to meet them wherever they are, whoever they are. So we are dealing with two kinds of people. One who is a neophyte. The language is different. The flowery language of the Vedas are meant for those neophytes. Okay? Get it clear. Then later we are going to deal with one who is already a devotee. The language for the devotee is different from the language of the neophyte. Okay? And you are going to see that clearly as we are going on. So you can see the capsule on the box. The river chanting the holy name of Krishna, his level is high. And we are supporting references. And we said yesterday, we read one of these references, that before one begin to chant Hare Krishna, in his previous life, he has performed so many pious activities, he has performed so many Vedic rituals, he has visited so many holy places, he has, you know, done all kinds of good works, everything required. Before in this life, he has become favorably disposed towards Krishna. So when you see Raganunga Bhakti becoming favorably disposed towards Krishna in this lifetime, it is not just now. He has performed so many pious activities in the past. He has performed all kinds of Vedic rituals in the past. Yeah? He has done all kinds of charitable works. He has visited so many holy places. He has studied all kinds of scriptures. Before in this lifetime, he is now favorably disposed to chanting Hare Krishna. The same thing for Bhakti Amega. Our most powerful Bhakta. Bhakti Amega is our most powerful Bhakta in the whole of Ghana, from my estimation. Most powerful Bhakta. It's already initiated, but he has not formally taken the name. It's very powerful, you see. So Krishna knows you, and he knows where to reach you, how to reach you, and he has been reaching you. And so you keep on from there. I said, before you become favorably disposed to Krishna consciousness like this, in your previous life, you have performed so many pious activities. You have studied all kinds of scriptures. You have visited all kinds of holy places, and you have developed all the good qualities of the Aryans. That's why in this lifetime, when you change the body, you become favorably disposed to the activities of Krishna consciousness, chanting the holy name. If you want this verse, if you go to Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 33, verses 6 and 7. Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 33rd chapter, chapter 33, 3. Then verses 6 and 7. Go and read those verses and the purpose. You will see what we are talking about. There, devotee is instructing Kapila Muni or Kadama Muni. Okay? So we are encapsulating. Kamani Ebadi Kataraste, Ajus Adikara, or eligibility, his personal eligibility is certainly for work. Okay, that is to work. That is his eligibility. He's eligible to work as a Kshatriya. Now, since I'm not this body, I need not work. Somebody may argue like this. Since I'm not this body, I need not work. Krishna is saying, no, you have to work, but you should not desire to enjoy the fruits of your activities. Okay? Then the same person will say, if I want to enjoy, what will happen? Then Krishna is saying that you will become the cause of the activity. Therefore, you'll be accountable for the results. You'll be bound by sinful reaction. Now, what is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? You will be bound then by the result of your activity. Can I see the screen? Oh, perhaps it's better that I do not. Then Krishna said, that is not permitted. You have to do, you have to work, but you have to work in the consciousness of detachment. Okay, so you get it right? You have to work, but you should work in the consciousness of detachment. So these are the arguments put forward, and Krishna is answering. Since I'm not this body, I need not to work. Krishna said, no, you have to work, but you should not desire to enjoy the fruits of the activities. If I want to enjoy, what will happen? That you will become the cause of the activity. What is wrong with that? You will be bound then by the result of your activity. Oh, perhaps it's better that I do not. That is not permitted. 50. Yoga Kamasu Koshalam. That means if you know how to work on the platform of yoga, that is the highest technique of doing work. Work on the platform of yoga. Jnana Bandha Vimukta. Liberated from the bondage of birth and death. How? Detached work. Detached work leads to realized knowledge of the soul. Detached work leads to realized knowledge of the soul. And gradually, knowledge of the Lord. Okay? And knowledge of the Lord will lead you to surrender. And when you become surrender, you become free from the material world. And you get liberated. You get liberated to Vaikuntha. So this is where we are now. Verse 54 to verse 72. Stira pragya, sita pragya, become fixed in Krishna consciousness. This is where we are. So to begin this session, Arjuna is going to ask questions. He's going to ask very intelligent questions to Krishna, and the answers to Arjuna's question will constitute the next verses. Now let's start. Arjuna said, wait, let me try to see if we can read the Sanskrit. Verse 54. Hare Krishna. Bhakti Amega, please read the Sanskrit for verse 54. Read the Sanskrit. Bhakti Amega, read the Sanskrit.
This is beyond me now.
Verse 54. I should read it?
Yes, Prabhu.
Arjuna Uvacha Sita Pragyasya Kabasa Samadhistasya Kesava Stita Di Kim Prabhaseta Kim Asita Brajeta Kim. What does that mean? Arjuna said, What are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? How many questions are there? How many questions are there, Bhakti Prince?
3. 3 questions.
3?
3 questions.
Okay.
It's 4,
I think it's 4.
4.
Yes.
Yes.
4.
It's 4. Arjuna asks, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? That is 1. How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk?
That is 4.
They're like 5.
Yes. 5, rather.
They're 5. Okay. Madhu Sneha Prabhu, read the purport for us. Raganuga Prabhu, read the purport for us.
As there are symptoms for each and every man in terms of his particular situation. Similarly, one who is Krishna conscious has his particular nature. Talking, walking, thinking, feeling, etc. As a rich man has his symptoms by which he is known as a rich man, as a diseased man has the symptoms by which he is known as diseased, or as a learned man has his symptoms, so a man in transcendental consciousness of Krishna has specific symptoms in various dealings. One can know his specific symptoms from the Bhagavad Gita. Most important is how the man in Krishna consciousness speaks. For speech is the most important quality of any man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak. And certainly, a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks. But as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. The immediate symptom of a Krishna conscious man is that he speaks only of Krishna and of matters relating to him. Other symptoms then automatically follow, as stated below. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is self-explanatory that Arjuna wants to know how to recognize the Sthita Pragya. One is Krishna. A Krishna conscious man is called Sthita Pragya. Sthita Pragya. So the Arjuna wants to know what are the symptoms of one who is Krishna conscious. Okay? What are the symptoms? The symptom of one who enters into a lake is that his body is wet. So the same way, if somebody is Krishna conscious, there should be some symptoms, some qualities, some characteristics that the person will develop. So Arjuna is asking so that he can know the symptoms of one who is a Sthita Pragya. Then we see if he can also develop them. So it's very important. And instead of all the symptoms, the questions Arjuna asked, that of speech is most important because when a fool speaks, you know, and a well-dressed fool cannot be known until he speaks. You would think everybody is the same, but when he starts speaking, you will know that this is a fool. So that is it. So silence is golden. It's good to be quiet when you don't know something about the subject matter and they are discussing it. You talk, then they will know that look at his level. What are the symptoms? How does he speak? How does he sit? How does he speak? That means what is his language? How does he sit? How does he sit? What does it mean? How does he situate himself in the midst of the senses? How does he respond to the demands of the senses? That is the meaning of how does he sit? How does he react? How does he respond to the demand of sense? Because the senses are always active. They are demanding for something, one thing or the other. How does a Krishna consciousness person respond to the agitations and dictations and demands of the senses? How does he sit? That is meaning. How does he sit? How does he walk? The same by extension, the same thing. How does he sit? How does he walk? How does he actually respond to the bombardment of the mind and the senses? How does he walk? Srila Viswanatha Chakravarti explained that Arjun's first question, how is one who is transcendentally situated described? What are his characteristics? Krishna answered this first question in text 55. Although these questions seem to deal only with such a person's external behavior, Srila Viswanatha Chakravarti Thakura reveals each question's internal meaning. So now, listen carefully as Krishna will respond to Arjuna's first question in text 55. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajati Yada Kama Sarvam Partha Manogatan Atmani Evatmana Tusta Stita Pragya Stadoshate. The blessed Lord said, Oh Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desires, which arise from mental concussion, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Yes. The blessed Lord said, Oh Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desire, which arise from mental concussion, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Can somebody read the purport for us?
The Bhagavatam affirms that any person who is fully in Krishna consciousness or devotional service of the Lord has all the good qualities of the great sages, whereas a person who is not so transcendentally situated has no good qualifications, because he is sure to be taking refuge in his own mental concussions. Consequently, it is rightly said herein that one has to give up all kinds of sense desire manufactured by mental concussion. Artificially, such sense desires cannot be stopped, but if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without strenuous efforts. Therefore, one has to engage himself in Krishna consciousness without hesitation, for this devotional service will instantly help one onto the platform of transcendental consciousness. The highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. Such a transcendentally situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of eternally serving the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think the purport is very clear. So the Prabhupada has elaborately described, his characteristics, and such a person is satisfied in himself alone. The person knows that it's not his body, but his spirit soul, and therefore as a soul, an eternal servant of Krishna. And therefore identifying himself as eternal servant of Krishna, acting on that platform, he remains situated in transcendence. So it is very clear and self-explanatory. Yes. Then the Stita Pragya, that person is called Stita Pragya. He reveals his position by having no material affection. He is detached from both happiness and misery. Rather, he is fully satisfied by fixing his consciousness on the self, that he is a spirit soul. I'm a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. And therefore, my function is to act in Krishna consciousness. So he's detached from all those external danglings, action and reactions of the senses and the interaction of the mood. He's situated in the self. So when we understand that we are not this body, we have to practice, we have to live accordingly, as one who has realized that it's not the body, okay? Then Krishna's next answer. Next, Krishna answers Arjun's second question in text 56 and 57. What is the second question, please? How does he speak? And this question means, how are his intelligence and words affected by another's affection, anger, or neutrality? In other words, how does he respond? This is the meaning of that. How does he speak? How does he speak? It means, how does he respond to challenging situation? How does he respond to challenging, circumstances? How does he respond to verbal insults by others? How does he respond to attacks, verbal assaults by others? Like when somebody do something to him, how does he react? If somebody comes with violence, does he also react with violence or not? When somebody comes with fire, does he also respond with fire or he responds with water? Because water is the opposite of fire. So it's the antidote for fire. So he responds with the antidote, not with the same element. So that is it. It is technically said that this world we are in is actually full of bombardments and challenging situations. And the thing that happens, what happens is not very important. It's only 10%. But how you respond to what happens is 90%. That means life is 10% of what happens, but 90% of how you respond. So as devotees who are trying to become Stita Pragya, we are expected to respond with quality. Understand? The challenging situation is only a medium to make you bring out your inner qualities. So your response with quality is what defines you. So life is only 10% of what happens, but 90% of how you react. So as a Stita Pragya, we react with quality. That is the name. How does he respond when challenged? How does he respond? You know, like you are bathing you are in the bathroom, and somebody comes, somebody who is ignorant, a madman, comes and snatch away your clothes. What do? Do you run after him naked? Because you are naked, you are not having clothes. At least he is wearing some torn clothes. So if you run after him with the same energy with which he comes to challenge you, if both of you are outside, he is wearing clothes, you are not wearing any clothes. So people will readily conclude that you are actually the mad person, that he is actually wearing some clothes, so his situation is better. So Arjuna wants to know, how does a devotee respond when a madman snatches his clothes while he's taking his bath? How does a devotee or a Sthita Pragya respond? He responds with quality. He will not run after the madman. So this is the purport of this verse. This world is full of challenging situations. But when we face these situations, we should respond with quality. That is the purport of this verse. We should respond with quality. That is the meaning of this. Now, let's see verse 56 and 57, because that is where Krishna answered Arjuna's second question. How does he speak? How does he speak? Now, the Sanskrit, is it 56, 57? 56. Dukesu anudvigna mana, sukesu vigata spriya, vita raga baya kroda, sita di muni uchyate. Then 57. Ya sarvataram happiness as tatat prapya subha subham nebinandati na dvesti tasya pragya pratistita. These two questions, these two verses answer Arjuna's second question. The purposes are very sweet. The purposes are very sweet. So I don't think we should jump it. We have to read the purpose. Very important. Somebody should read purpose to verse 56.
The word Muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation without coming to a factual conclusion. It is said that every Muni has a different angle of vision, and unless a Muni differs from other Munis, he cannot be called a Muni in the straight sense of the term. Nasa Shreyasya Matam Na Binam, but a Sita Muni, as mentioned herein by the Lord, is different from an ordinary Muni. The Sita Muni is always in Krishna consciousness, for he has exalted all his business of creative speculation. He is called Prasanta Nishisha Manu Ratatara, or one who has surpassed the stage of mental speculations and has come to the conclusion that Lord Shri Krishna or Vasudeva is everything. Vasudeva Savam Iti Sa Mahatma Sudulabha. He is called a Muni, fixed in mind, Such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the threefold miseries, for he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy of more trouble due to his past misdeeds. And he sees that his miseries, by the grace of the Lord, are minimized to the lowest. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of the happiness. He realized that it is due only to the Lord's grace that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. And for the service of the Lord, he is always there and active and is not influenced by attachment or aversion. Attachment means accepting things for one's own sense gratification, and detachment is the absence of such sensual attachment. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment, because his life is dedicated in the service of the Lord. Consequently, he is not at all angry even when his attempts are unsuccessful. Success or no success, a Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So that is self-explanatory enough. And 57. He who is without attachment, who does not rejoice when he obtains good, nor laments when he obtains evil, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Purport. There is always some upheaval in the material world, which may be good or evil. One who is not agitated by such material upheavals, who is unaffected by good and evil, is to be understood to be filled in Krishna consciousness. As long as one is in the material world, there is always the possibility of good and evil, because this world is full of duality. But one who is filled.
When it echoes. Yes, it echoes.
Huh?
You don't have earpiece.
No, I'm thinking that.
Hare Krishna. I have muted you successfully. Hare Krishna. Okay. Anyway, so the point here is that a Sita Dumuni is filled in knowledge and aloof from the material world. He lives on the transcendental platform, and therefore his mind cannot be materially disturbed. Srila Prabhupada writes, such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the threefold miseries, for he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy of more trouble due to his past misdeeds. And he sees that his miseries by the Lord's grace are minimized to the lowest. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of happiness. Okay? So these symptoms describe a Krishna conscious person. Now the next question, how does he sit? How does he sit means, how does he not engage his senses? What is his mentality when his senses are refrained from their objects? Krishna answers in the next two verses, verse 58 and 59. 58. Yada samharate indriyani indriyartes tebias Tasya pragya pratishthita. You hear the question? How does he sit? And that means, how does he not engage in senses? When the senses dragging, say, how does he behave? Does he follow and try to gratify the senses? Or what does he do? So this question is this particular to Arjun. So he's saying that one who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as the tortoise draws his limbs within the shell is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge. Okay? Kurma Ugani Vasarvasa. Now, Bhakti Amega, can you please read the purport for us? These tests are very self-explanatory, they are very original. So let's read the purports and assimilate what Prabhupada said together. Just read attentively and we should listen attentively so that we can see.
The purport to test number 58, right?
8.
Okay. The test of a yogi, devotee, or self-realized soul is that is able to control the senses according to his plan. Most people, however, are servants of the senses and are thus directed by the detection of the senses. That is the answer to the question as to how the yogi is situated. The senses are compared to the venomous serpent. They want to act very loosely and without restriction. The yogi or a devotee must be very strong to control the serpent like a snake charmer. He never allows them to act independently. There are many injunctions in the revealed scriptures. Some of them are do nots and some of them are do's. Unless one is able to follow the do's and the do nots, restricting oneself from sense enjoyment, it is not possible to be firmly fixed in Krishna consciousness. The best example set herein is the tortoise. The tortoise can at any moment wind up his senses and exhibit them again at any time for particular purpose. Similarly, the senses of the Krishna conscious person are used only for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord and are withdrawn otherwise. Keeping the senses always in the service of the Lord is the example set by analogy of the tortoise who keeps senses within. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think you know a tortoise. When you see tortoise, how does it behave? He's moving majestically with his legs and his head up. As soon as he senses danger, what does he do?
Yes.
He just withdraw all the limbs within the shell. Withdraw all the limbs within. You would think he has no leg, he has no head, he has no hands. But he has hands, legs, and eyes. So, okay, when you see that there is no danger again, everywhere is quiet, he brings them out again. The head will come out, the hands will come out, the legs will come out. He start walking majestically. Then it's gone. So a devotee should be like that. Is to bring out his senses only for specific purposes. Okay? Like for instance, when he sees every other person eating chicken rolling in some junctions, you know, they have made it, put it in soap glass, and it's rolling majestically. When a devotee sees it, he just withdraw his tongue and it passes. But when he comes to, when he sees nice prashadam, nice jollof rice with a wagashi on top, with some puri at the corner, or sweet rice in some other corner, immediately he brings out his senses. He brings out his tongue and he commodites it. In a short time, the whole plate is cleared. After that, when somebody brings boga, he withdraws his senses. When he sees boga, he just withdraws his senses. And he's not interested at all. But when he sees prashadam, his senses come out. So a devotee utilizes his senses for prashadam. For the Lord's prashadam and not boga. Okay? So this is how it goes. He utilizes his senses for specific purposes. He is not advanced to sense gratification, but he engages only in regulated sense gratification. So this is the example of the tortoise here. So that is answering Arjuna's third question. Then verse 59. Verse 59. Visaya vini bhartamte niraharasya deina rasa barjam rasuapi asya param dristva nivartate. Param dristva nivartate. Somebody should read, okay, translation. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste is fixed in consciousness. Somebody should read the purport, please.
Unless one is transcendentally situated. Hello? Okay, Prabhu, you can go ahead.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare.
Okay, let me read. Unless one is transcendentally situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain types of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restrictions nor loses his taste for eatables. Similarly, the sense restriction by some spiritual process, like Ashtanga yoga, in the matter of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, yahara, dharana, dhyana, etc. is recommended for less intelligent persons who have no better knowledge. But one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophytes in the spiritual advancement of life. But such restrictions are only good until one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for pale things. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
I'm sorry, my network went up and come back again. My network went up and come back again. So,
should I begin?
No, it's okay.
Bravo, should I begin?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Actually, this is one of our very important verses. And devotees are not against, enjoyment, or they are not against getting the mercy of the Lord. That we replace lower engagement with higher engagement. This is the principle of Parandriswa Nivartante. We are not against eating, but we are against eating everything that is not offered to Krishna. You can eat, but you take prasadam. Prasadam adigashati. Prasadam adigashati. So a devotee takes prasadam, not boga. When it is time for dancing, he does not dance to disco music, but he dances to kirtan. Dancing is there, but this time the lower type of dancing is replaced with higher type of dancing. When it's time for eating, the lower type of eating is replaced with higher type of eating. When it's time for singing, the lower type of singing is replaced with chanting of Mahamantra. So we are not against engagements, but we are against lower engagements. So the process of Krishna consciousness is the process of replacing lower engagements with higher engagements. Param Driswa Nivartanti. Okay? Replacing lower engagements with higher engagements. This is the process of Krishna consciousness. Okay? Engagement must be there, the senses must be engaged, but not lower engagement. They should be engaged in some higher activity. So you leave the lower engagement, that you are absorbed in higher engagement. That's why you don't feel it. It's not the other type of renunciation whereby you leave everything and go to the forest. But here you only replace lower engagement with higher engagement. That's why we have a book called Higher Tastes. We have a vegetarian book entitled Higher Tastes. This higher taste is saying that there's lower taste, but we are giving up the lower taste for higher taste. And what is the higher taste? It's all about prasada. So this is a verse that permits you to take the prasadam of the Lord, okay? And not boga. Reject boga, but take prasadam. Okay? Reject boga, but take prasadam. Okay? That is it. Madhu Sneha Prabhu, Ramachandra, Raganunga, Savamai, we are not seeing your face. We are not seeing you. Are you really there? If you are all there, please let us be seeing you. Let us see you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'm not in the house. Actually, I'm going in somewhere. Somewhere, that's why.
Okay, but you are there.
Yes, yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
I'm
at the moment actually in the Maharaj house, that's why.
Those who are not there, if you are not there for the whole class, if you are not there for the whole class, if we don't see your picture for throughout the class, we may find you. We may find you. You may have to bring rasagulas to all the devotees. So you better show your face. At least let us see your face small. Hare Krishna. Okay. The process of replacing lower engagement with higher engagements is called Param Driswa. Okay. Very good. Very good. We need to see your faces. Very important. We are not impersonalists. We are personalists. Okay. We are not impersonalists. We are personalists. And that's why we like to see people's faces. Bhakti Daniel, we like to see your face also. Hare Krishna. Goranga, you are a person. So we like to see that person. Hare Krishna.
Hey, she no.
Bhakti Daniel Adumako.
She know.
Bhakti Daniel Adumako, we not see your face.
Thank you, Prabhu. I'm here.
Okay.
Because if I don't do it, it will go down.
Very important.
My phone is no, the battery is weak.
Aswini Kumara Prabhu. Aswini Kumara Prabhu. Please, you should mute yourself. Mute yourself.
You are not the host. So.
Mute yourself. Mute yourself. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Are we there? Okay, yes, having said this much, let us go ahead. That here Krishna is telling Arjuna, do not give up work. Do not become a jnani, a man who simply discriminates between matter and spirit. Perform your duty in Bodhi Yoga. Krishna is showing Arjuna the defects of jnana in order to propose the superiority of Bhakti Yoga. Okay? If you just have theoretical knowledge, it's okay, but it's better than that. It should just replace lower engagement with higher engagements. That is Krishna consciousness. That's why Krishna consciousness is very sweet. It is very sweet because they are full of activities. It's a yoga system with full of activities. that you don't even know that you are practicing yoga. You are practicing yoga without knowing that you are practicing yoga because of the packaging, perfect packaging by Sastri Prabhupada. You know, replacing lower engagements with higher engagements. Only pure devotees can do this and do it perfect. Okay? If you are in Krishna consciousness activities, you will not even know that you are performing yoga. On Sunday, you come and you listen to classes and you do kirtans and you take prashadam. You don't even know you are performing yoga, but in actuality, you are performing yoga. So replacing lower engagement with higher engagements is Bhakti yoga. That is what Krishna wants Arjuna to do. Not that you renounce work and go into the forest that you have renounced. Okay? Verse 60. Okay, yeah. From verse 60 to 63. In 60 to 63, Krishna explained the danger of Arjuna's plan to renounce work and go to the forest to gain knowledge and avoid sinful reactions. So these three verses, verse 60 to 63. Verse 60 to 63. Krishna explains the danger of Arjuna's plan to renounce work and go to the forest to gain knowledge and avoid sinful reaction. So when you listen, you will see the connection. Verse 60. Yatatoi apikunte ya purusasya viparshitaha indriyani pramantini haranti prasabam manaha. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind, even of a man of discrimination, who is endeavoring to control them. Who is endeavoring to control them. They are so impetuous, they are turbulent, they are very strong. Krishna is telling Arjuna, do not give up work. Do not become a jnani, a man who simply discriminates between matter and spirit. Perform your duty in Buddha yoga. Krishna is showing Arjuna the defect of jnani. So he's telling him, it's dangerous. The senses are so dangerous. Don't try it. Try to do Krishna conscious activity. That Krishna consciousness is just a transcendentally nice thing that automatically material enjoyment becomes distasteful. It is as if a hungry man had satisfied his hunger by a sufficient quantity of nutritious eatables. Maharaj Ambarish also conquered the great yogi Durvasa Muni simply because his mind was engaged in Krishna consciousness. So when you engage yourself in Krishna consciousness, you're actually the best of the yogis. So do that and don't try to just renounce activity. Engage your activities, engage your mind and senses in Krishna consciousness. This is the purpose. Then 61. Tani savani samyamya yukta asita matpara vasehi yasyendriyani tasya pragya pratistitaha. 61. One who restrains his senses and fixes his consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence. Is known as a man of steady intelligence. And that means you restrain the senses from sense object, but you engage your senses in Krishna, fix your senses and mind in Krishna, then you are a man of steady intelligence. And the key word in this verse are matparaha, in relationship with me. Thus, Krishna directly referring to himself for the first time as the object of devotion. He stresses Bhakti. We can control the senses only by engaging them in relationship to Krishna. No? When our senses are subjugated, fully engaged in Krishna service, our consciousness is called pratistita, fixed. Yes, the first half of the process described in this verse is restraint of the senses. Okay? Krishna then directs one to fix his consciousness upon him. He says that one who has succeeded in both is known as a man of steady intelligence. But what if, when trying to reach this stage, one fixes his senses on an object of enjoyment and views it as supreme for Krishna service? Test 63 is now going to explain the consequences of that. What will happen if one, fixes his mind and senses on other objects apart from Krishna? So there is something very, very, very spectacular in this verse. How to fix one mind? Because when we are talking of, say, fix your mind on Krishna, fix your mind on Krishna, fix your mind on Krishna. How do we fix our mind on Krishna? How do we fix our mind on Krishna? So the purport is a bit long, but when you go down the purport, you will see that there are 3 verses, long verses quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam. I will read the purport myself, and at the end of this purport, we can stop. Initially, I was thinking that we'll be able to finish the 72 verses, but I think we will stop because our beginning was interrupted. That affected our flow. So after reading this purport, we talked on it, then I will show the slides, then we'll stop there. Then next week we'll continue from there. Purport. That the highest conception of yoga perfection is Krishna consciousness is clearly explained in this verse. And unless one is Krishna conscious, it is not at all possible to control the senses. As cited above, the great sage Dhruva Samuni picked up a quarrel with Ambarish Maharaj, and Dhruva Samuni unnecessarily became angry out of pride, and therefore could not check his senses. On the other hand, the king, although not as powerful as a yogi, as a sage, but a devotee of the Lord, silently tolerated all the sage's injustices and thereby emerged victorious. The king was able to control his senses because of the following qualifications as mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. How to control the senses? The translation of these verses will show you. Sabaimana Krishna Padara Vidayo Vascham Sivaikunta Gunanu Banane Karauari Mandira Murjana Disu Srutim Chakara Shuta Satkatudaye Mukundalinga Layada Sanedrisu Talbridge Yaga Traspase Angasanganam Giranam Chatarpad Saroja Surabi Sriman Tulasya Rasanam Tat Apite Padau Arikshetra Padanu Sapane Siro Risikesa Padambi Padame Kamam Chadasye Natukama Kamya Yato Tamasloka Janasrayarati. Every one of us to memorize this verse and read the translation, so that you can use it to guide your daily devotional activities. Bhakti Daniel Adamako will read the translation of these verses for us. Bhakti Dan, read it out for us, please.
Test 63. Oh.
Just read the translation of these slokas I quoted in the purport.
Which test, Prabhu? I'm lost.
61 purport.
61, okay.
In the purport, there are 3 slokas.
Okay. That's the highest concession
King
of
Ambarish.
No.
King Ambarish, start from
down.
King Ambarish fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, engaged his words in describing the abode of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the forms of the Lord, his body in touching the body of the devotee, his nostrils in smelling the flavor of the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord. His tongue in tasting the tulsi leaves offered to him. His legs in traveling to the holy places where his temple is situated. His head in offering obeisance unto the Lord, and his desires in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. And all these qualifications made him fit to become a mat para devotee of the Lord. The word mat para is most significant in this connection. How one can become mat para is described in the life of Maharaj Ambarisa, Srila Baladev Vidyabhusana, a great scholar and acharya in the line of mat para. Remarks: Mad Bhakti Pravavena Savadriyan Vijaye Purvika Swatma Dristihe Sulabhaveti Bhavahe. The senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotional service to Krishna. Also, the example of fire is sometimes given. As a blazing fire burns everything within a room, Lord Vishnu, situated in the heart of Yogi, burns up all kinds of impurities. The Yogi Sutra also prescribes meditation on Vishnu and not meditation on the void. The so-called yogis who meditate on something other than Vishnu simply waste their time in a vain search after some phantasmagoria. We have to be Krishna conscious, devoted to the personality of Godhead. This is the aim of the real yoga. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you can see the formula there. Ambarish Maharaj has shown the formula. Ambarish Maharaj has shown the formula. And it is very clear. Who is the host now? I beg. Who is the host? My screen is lost. I want to encapsulate and conclude with the screen sharing. The person who is the host will make me host now, right now. Hare Krishna. Okay, I'm host now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please, I've made you the host.
Yes, thank you very much. So, Ambarish Maharaj has given us the formula. He has shown us the formula how to become a man para devotee of the Lord, engaging all the senses in the service of the Lord, and thereby becoming. So these are the capsules. These are the capsules we just passed through, and you can see them now on the screen. Arjuna's questions was, how does he speak? How does he sit? And how does he walk? Sita Pragya, one who is situated in his Krishna consciousness or divine consciousness. The question, Ka Basa, what are his symptoms or characteristics? The answer is in verse 55. Kim Prabhaseta, how does he speak? The answer is in verse 56 and 57. Kim Asita, how does he sit? The answer is in verse 58 and 59. Brajeta Kim, how does he walk? The answer is in 64 to 71. We shall come to that later. How does he walk? But for now, the first three questions are answered. And that's where we are. And we are going to close from there. But before then, the most important symptom in the purport is, how does he speak? So, okay. General symptoms of a Sthita Pragya. A Sthita Pragya, what are general symptoms? It gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concussion. How? Artificially, such sense desires cannot be stopped. But if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without extraneous effort, as in the purport 2. His mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone. How? By realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. So if we say, I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul, then what is my relationship with the Lord if I'm a spirit soul? Service to the Supreme. That is our Jivara Swarupa Haya, Krishnara Nitya Dasa. Jivara Swarupa Haya, Krishnara Nitya Dasa. Now, how does he speak? He's not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold mysteries. How does he accept mysteries? He accepts all mysteries as the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy of more trouble due to his past misdeeds. And he sees that his miseries, by the grace of the Lord, are minimized to the lowest. In the Bhagavatam 10th canto, there is a verse there, and this verse reads like this. Tate anukampam susami samano bunjana evatma krishtam vipakam ribag vapupi vidada namaste jive tayomuki abesa dayaba. Tate anukampam susami samano Bunjana hebatma kritam dibakam Ritbag babubi Vidada namaste Jibe tayomuki Padasa Dayaba. It's a very nice slogan that the devotee accepts all misfortunes. And he knows that by the grace of the Lord, that my dear Lord, one who earnestly, all the while, patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. So a devotee's mental posture is like this: to accept all miseries as the mercy of the Lord. No, thinking himself, very fortunate, and that is not getting all that is supposed to get. Then, it's not elated when there is happiness. How? It's because it's free from attachment, fear, and anger. How? Unaffected, whether good or evil, it may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it. That means it's equiposed. His consciousness is fixed. Now, Krishna, the whole good absolute. How does he speak? But one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness is not affected by good and evil, because he's simply concerned with Krishna, who is the all good. So, that this is how he does. How does he sit? No, his senses are so regulated that he brings them out only for specific purposes. He does not engage in unrestricted sense gratification, like the tortoise. The tortoise withdraws his limbs whenever he senses danger. He withdraws his limbs within his shell. And when there is opportunity, when everywhere is quiet, he brings them out. And we should take lesson from the tortoise. As devotees, Sthita Pragya, or who are trying to become Sthita Pragya, sadhakas who are trying to become Sthita Pragya, he takes lesson from the tortoise. And this is how the Sthita Pragya behaves. So we, the sadhakas who are trying to elevate ourselves to become situated transcendentally, we should take lesson from the tortoise, that our senses should be brought out for specific purposes, purposes that are defined for the pleasure of the Lord. We should eat only prasadam, not boga. Whenever there is opportunity to eat boga, we withdraw our senses. Whenever there is opportunity to eat prasadam, we bring out our senses like the tortoise. It brings out his head, hands, and legs. Then we knock all the prasadam and we go. The senses are used solely for some particular purpose in the service of the Lord. Otherwise, in such restraint, difficult or easy? Is it difficult or easy? A transcendentalist renunciation is not difficult because he has a higher taste. Yes, he replaces lower taste with higher taste. He's not eating buga, but he's eating prasadam. Prasadam is higher taste. He's not involved in mundane songs, but he's singing for Krishna. Songs for Krishna, bhajans, they give higher taste. You know, he's not dancing mundane songs, but he dances for Krishna. So this is how. So it's not difficult. Then a vipashitaha. What happens without higher taste? Vipashitaha, full of discriminating knowledge, especially the Gyanis. But this Gyana, this knowledge, discriminating knowledge is not enough. So Sri Yamunacharya, the great saint, said, since my mind has been engaged in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and I have been enjoying an ever new transcendental humor, whenever I think of sex life with a woman, my face at once turns from it, and I spit at the thought. That means lower tastes are replaced with higher tastes. And when you are situated in the higher taste, the lower tastes become automatically disgusting, that we do not have any interest going there anymore. This is how it happens. So we should always situate ourselves in higher tastes to replace lower tastes with higher tastes. Then, Sthita Pragya, Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to become a Sthita Pragya like this, to become a devotee who is situated in surrender to him, so that by so doing, Arjuna's intelligence will become free from all kinds of doubts, and it becomes steadily absorbed in thoughts of the Lord and satisfaction of the Lord. So steady intelligence and devotional service, that is the result of becoming a Sthita Pragya. That we should become mad para in relationship with me. For the first time, Krishna is directly referring to himself as the object of devotion. So engage your senses in trying to please me. And that's in verse 61. That Baladev Vidyabhushana, the great scholar and acharya in the line of Mad Para devotee, say, Mad Bhakti Prabhavena Sarvendriya Vijaya Pubika and Swatma Dristi Sulavetiva, that the senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotional service to Krishna and not otherwise. So you don't need to separately go and practice sense control. But when you engage the senses in the service of the master of the senses, Krishna, they become automatically controlled. So this is where we stop. And the next slide, we shall continue the stages of fall down, the royal road to hell. How if one fails to control the senses, the consequences of failing to control the senses. They are spelled out in verse 62 and 63, and we elaborate on it more. Then finally, the text will conclude very nicely. More consequences of not controlling the senses are elaborated until towards the end. Then we see the conclusion of Krishna. So that we can cover in when we start our next class, we can cover it within 1 hour. Then we can go halfway on the other test of the lesson. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have one question.
There are some questions and commentaries on this points that we can conclude now.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Prabhu, according to the text that you give in Srimad Bhagavatam concerning Mother Devahuti Devidasi, that anybody who chants about the Lord at once, meaning one way or the other, he is a devotee or she is a devotee. So my question here is, we see demons also chanting the holy name of the Lord. Can we consider them devotees of the Lord?
Which demons are chanting the holy names?
Or they keep on even remembering the Lord.
Example of one demon. Give one example of one demon chanting the holy name. Because we don't want to speculate.
Well, I cannot give the name.
Share with us.
No problem. I can't give the name right now.
If you cannot give, then next time don't make such authoritative statements.
Oh, okay.
Demons don't chant the holy name.
King Kamsa. King Kamsa.
Kamsa chanted the holy name. Kamsa did not chant the holy name.
He was meditating.
Negatively, that type of meditation is not encouraged. We want positive one, not one who is meditating on how to kill Krishna. We are thinking of one who is meditating on how to serve Krishna. That is the positive man. One who is favorably disposed towards the chanting of the holy name. Are you still doubting or something?
So your voice is freezing. I can't hear you well.
Are you still doubting?
That?
Are you still doubting whether some demons are chanting? Is your question still remaining there, or it has gone?
Yes, please. My question remains still.
But ask your question very well so that we can.
Yeah, bro, actually, it's you. Even some of us, even though we are chanting, but we're still having these demonic qualities. So one way or the other, can we consider ourselves as devotees? Because these tendencies, these demonic tendencies that we are having before we came to Krishna consciousness, and we are still chanting the holy name of the Lord, but yes, these demonic qualities are playing in us. Let me talk to you specifically about me myself. So in one way or the other, can I a bit consider myself a devotee? Meanwhile, those demonic qualities and the tendencies are still within me, even though I'm trying to chant the holy name of the Lord.
You still have demonic tendency within you?
We are not saying that.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? For the fact that you recognize that you still have demonic tendencies, that means they are not there, they are clearing. You are on the path, you are on track. So just try to remain and associate properly, and eventually all will go, okay?
Okay, Prabhu. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Just remain on the tree. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Please, we stop there. We'll continue next week. All glories to his co-founder, Charles A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki. Jaga Krishna Prabhupada Ki. All glories to Bhaktivedanta Academy for Culture and
His grace, Nana Prema Prabhu Ki.
All glories to the Bhaktivedanta students. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
You can leave now. You are free to leave now. You are free to leave and go and take prashadam.
Hare Krishna.
They're hearing you. They're hearing you.
Oh, I think I don't. Kaka lijo. Rogari kaka lijo se enda ki. Ija be kaka lijo. About you want it. Esto vamos con el boda ya we ya be woni wo.